Hey guys, welcome to Dev1 SC2 video, and I wanted to go ahead and share this Terran versus Terran build and how I was able to successfully continue to harass, which eventually led to a victory. So for this particular video, my build was refinery, barracks, refinery, then factory, and then starport. But because I'm playing versus Terran, I wanted to make sure I had a siege tank out before my Liberators. I was going for the Liberator rush, but like I said, because it's a Terran player, I wanted to make sure I had something to protect my base prior to going into Liberators. Normally, if I play Zerg or Protoss, I go into Liberators a lot more quicker with the factory building a reactor instead of a tech lab. So I got the siege tank out and I strategically placed in a location where, regardless of it's a medvac drop or a marine push up the ramp, the siege tank will give me, I think, enough protection for whatever would come between the 3 to 4 minute mark. I also have a bunker near the entrance, which gives a little bit of an additional protection. So because I went with a tech lab right off the gate with my factory, I used the barracks to build the reactor for my starport. This allows me to push out the two Liberators at least close enough to the initial part of the game so that way I can at least do some harassment. And so as you can see here, I am now going to go ahead and scout and also attack. I like to scout with my Liberators as I'm attacking to get an idea what will be my next phase of my build. So you can see here I find a expansion and I immediately go into attack mode for the Liberator. Now as you saw, my Liberator was easily taken out with those Marines. That was bad placement on my part. If I would have placed the Liberator a little further back and forced the Marines into the target zone area, I probably would have survived that attack and probably eliminated his Marines along with the SCVs. Thankfully, I build out 2 whenever I do the Liberator build, because 2 is better than 1, and it also allows for some flexibility in how I want to go and approach my attack. So as you saw, I used the first Liberator on the expansion, the second Liberator on the main base. Now with this particular attack, I was able to do a lot more damage and pretty much eliminate not only his Marines, but a good majority, if not all, of his SCVs. Meanwhile, as I'm doing this, I am also building a lot of Marines and a lot of siege tanks and medvacs. So that is basically phase 2 of my attack. Now that I've pretty much lost my 2 Liberators, it's now time to move in with my medvacs, Marines, and siege push. And in this case, I wanted to go ahead and try to attack his expansion, being that I already attacked his main base. I felt like I did enough damage there. I figured let me go ahead and see what I can do with his expansion. Now as I approached the ramp, I quickly realized it's a bad idea and need to pull back. So I went ahead and reloaded up again and then went into a drop for his main base. Now when I did this, I was able to eliminate pretty much his entire Marine force because of the siege tank and the additional medvac that I had. Let me pause the video here just to explain the importance of upgrading your infantry or tech whenever you're able. At this point in the game, I believe, if I'm not doing it now, okay, yeah. So I built a second barracks to build a tech lab so I can upgrade to shields and stem pack and so forth. I also have the engineering bay, which will allow me to do the +1 infantry, weapon, and armor. So those will eventually will be upgrading soon in this game, but as I'm doing this, again, I'm still pushing out Marines, siege tanks, and medvacs. Now in this particular attack, I eventually get overwhelmed with another batch of Marines that he's producing down here in the siege tank. It was also bad microwaving by my part. As you can see, and she takes out my Marines, siege tank. I'm able to salvage those 2 medvacs, which played a big part in my next attack. Because of having those 2 additional medvacs, I'm able to take my entire army that I have already produced again for my second batch. So I go back and I do another drop. As you can see here. Now, as you saw, he took out my 2 out of 3 siege tanks. That's because I was trying to go into siege mode, and also he was focusing fire, I believe. And so while he was doing that, the rest of my Marines were able to take out the rest of his army. And again, because of the upgrades, I was able to or withstand that attack and prevail in that small little victory, which led to the game, the good game at the end. One thing I like to point out is that I always try to attack, whenever I do attack structures, I always try to attack specifically the supply. If you attack enough supply structures, whether it's Protoss or Zerg, this basically bottlenecks your opponent to not be able to produce however many units he or she needs to counter or basically come back into the game. So once you destroy enough supply blocks, it's pretty much game over at that point, because they're not going to go ahead and destroy their SCVs. There's really no way to self-destruct SCVs unless they destroy each other. And so yeah, at this point, as you can see, it's game over. It's just a matter of a little bit of microwing and taking out this structure. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video and were able to take out some strategy to help your game. And thanks for watching.